I used a full face of samples for my look today. If you want to find out what I used, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and as I introduced earlier, I went into my sample box today and did a full face of makeup with samples. And I wanted to walk you through everything I used and what I thought about it. Now, it is a first impression. It is not a review unless it ends up being a product that I've used multiple times, in which case I can give you my full opinion. I just thought it might be useful and that maybe it would inspire us all to dip into our sample stash more often to use up what it is that sometimes we let sit around for a really long time. Samples are small, it's easy to forget about them, and that's actually why I started the shoebox, was to be very, very clear about exactly how much I have and to try to use them up. And the next video actually is going to be an update to my Slay My Samples stash video series, because I have a little bit of some update for you on that. But let's get into today's video, which is walking through step by step what I used on my face and showing you the sample packets so that you can see exactly where the product came from. I'll be reaching off to the side here. They're all laid out in a drawer right next to me because I am in my beauty room, and I'm now using my top drawer to have all of my products that I'm talking to you about on camera. And I used to have a makeshift cardboard box next to me, but I find the top drawer works really well as kind of a shelf to hold everything that I need for videos. So total ramble, but let's get into it. First off, let's start with skincare, and there are a number of products in today's look that I have never used before. The first one I used is this Skin Authority Vitamin D Fortified Topical Elixir, and it is said to smooth, brighten, and illuminate the look and feel of skin. And that's what I used, and you're supposed to just use a few drops, and so this is probably going to last me, just by the feel of it, probably going to last me a week, so I'll keep using it. First impression, it went on fine. It has a funny smell, but it has an ingredient smell, not like it's off. And especially, I mean, the packet wasn't open before, and it's spent less than a year in my box, so I'm not concerned that it's wrong. It just has kind of a medicinal smell in a way. Next up are more deluxe samples. I used this Clinique Moisture Surge. That sounded funny, Moisture Surge. And I've used this before, but it's a deluxe sample. I'm going to go through it. And then this Darphin Stimulskin Plus Multi-Corrective Divine Eye Cream. So I used that as well. Now it's probably for night, but I dabbed a very, very small amount under my eyes, and I think it went well. Then I used a pore filling primer that I know very well, which is the Porefessional from Benefit. I love this pore filling primer. I used it all over my face, so I used more primer than usual, but I was trying to use the product as intended. And I thought it did a really good job. Boy, it really smooths your face. It looks very nice. I used the whole sample, which normally a sample like this will last me 2 or 3 days. But I just decided to use it all over my face, which I normally would only use it in the T-zone, and it went really well. It's such a nice texture. Love it. Next up, I ended up using the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Full Coverage Foundation. That's a mouthful. It's in light neutral. And you'll see that I did not use anywhere near all of it. I think I have 2 more applications. This thing is super, super full coverage, and I think that you can see, hopefully I somewhat match my neck. I tried to color match myself reasonably well. Let's see if it's somewhat close, I don't know. I so far really like it. It's, like I said, really full coverage. I think that for an event or something, that this is a foundation that I would really like to wear. And it's only my second time using this, and the last time I used this was, I used the deepest shade in the range of, I think, 5 that came together for a Halloween look. So this was the first one for real everyday makeup. And I'm pretty impressed with the way it went on. It was so easy to put on. Again, first impressions. And then this one I messed up on. This one I thought it was a concealer, but I didn't read properly. It is the Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer. So this one, I still have a lot of it in it. Probably 2 or 3 more uses if it's foundation, and probably a week's worth or more if it's concealer. Probably 2 weeks. And it's for skin type 2 and 3, so it's for dry combination to combination oily, so it's perfect for me. I liked it. I put it under my eyes and around my nose, but under my eyes I like more of a brightening primer, so it's not quite the color I wanted, but it seems to be doing a good job, so I'm fine with it so far. Again, first impression. Don't take my word for it, because using a product once is not enough. If you want a full review once I've used all of these up and I've had a chance to use them for a number of days, I'm willing to do that. Just let me know. But right now, first impression, it's working fine, and I've had it on for over an hour now, and usually if concealer is going to do funny things right off the hop within an hour, you know. I will take a look at it at the end of the day, and if I have anything else, editing me will put some comments down on longevity and whatnot. Okay, now we get to some interesting things. So I had taken out this Laura Mercier translucent powder, and I double checked, and it just says translucent. That's all it says. Well, I went in with my big powder brush and tapped some of this on top of the brush, and it was going in, and you can probably see the glow still right here. This thing is more like a mild highlighter. It is so brightening. I mean, I would have looked like the Tin Man if I put it all over my face. So I stopped right there. I went back into my samples and picked this one up, which is the Tarte Smooth Operator Amazonian Clay Finishing Powder. So I went in for this one instead, and I'll show you the sample, what the samples look like. So this one is very, very much just white. And the Laura Mercier, which is very, very full. So I'm going to use this as a highlighter, honestly. And there's so much product in here. Yeah, I can't use that as a setting or finishing powder. It's just too brightening. It's more brightening than my ambient lighting powder from Hourglass, unless I accidentally put a ton on. I'm not sure, but I'll have to try it again. Again, I'm not sure about it at this point. So I finished with the Amazonian Clay Smooth Operator powder all over. Then I went in with the Becca, it's a little sample, very tiny, Becca Bronzed Bondi. Looks like this. And that's what I did on the periphery of my face right here and on the sides of my nose and a little bit under my bottom lip, basically as bronzer and contour. I like this. I've used it before. It was fine, and it's a total of 1.7 grams, so it's surprising. There's a lot in this little guy, but I guess it's hard to do very, very small samples of powder. And even this next one is going to last me a while. And what I'm talking about is this Buxom Wanderlust. This is Primer-infused blush, and I have Dolly and Mykonos. And I ended up using Dolly, and I really like it. It's a very nice blush. It does look like it's going to last a number of applications because the two, I'll show you the two because I didn't use Mykonos at all. They look identical. They don't look, the Dolly doesn't even look like it's got wear, and it's very pigmented. I did not have to use a whole lot, and you can see that I have quite a bit of blush going on here. And I did go back into the Laura Mercier powder, and you'll see the highlight here. That's that powder. That's all I used. I was going to use a liquid highlighter, and I put it back. A sample of Derma Blend, I think. I didn't need it. I just went with that Laura Mercier powder that's so bright and used it as a highlighter. So yeah, I know. Now we're going into eyes because we've got the face done. I ended up opening up this Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. Now the regular primer potion, the original, I did not open this one because I'm very familiar with it, but I'd never tried Sin. And Sin, I'll just give you a little sample on my hand here because it's going to be hard to tell between that and the caviar stick I'm going to use later. It is super, super shiny. I mean, super, I don't even know if it's coming through. Very, 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 very shiny. So unless you want super shiny eyelids, do not use Sin from Urban Decay. It is, yeah, super, super shiny. And so I put it on my eyelids and I went, whoa! And of course, we always take too much because it takes a grain of rice size for both eyes. And I ended up putting a lot and I thought, wow, this is going to be something else. And the package does show it being shiny, but I just didn't see it as, I didn't expect it to be that shiny. I thought they were being dramatic, but no. If anybody watching uses Sin, if you want to tell me how you apply it, because I just found it so overwhelming right off the hop. I think that if I want a natural look with just a bit of shine on the lid, I might just use Sin on its own. It's almost like a cream shadow on its own. It packs a punch. Even on inner lid would look really nice, and maybe Sin on the inner lid and then a couple of other shadows I'm about to show you. That might be a very nice combo, but again, it took me by surprise. Now for what I used with Sin, and I had a little bit of trouble. I always do with this product. It is the Laura Mercier Caviar Stick, and I went in and used all three. I used Amethyst as my main color. I used Moonlight as a center highlight. And then I used Tuxedo on the outer lid and upper and lower lash line liner. And I'll just scoot forward a little bit so that you can see. I don't recommend, so it's identified as being possible to use it as liner, which is why I used Tuxedo as liner, but I had to clean up down here because it just kind of smudges. It's very hard to get a precise line, and I used a very, very thin brush to apply it. I have it here somewhere. Very, very thin brush to apply it, and it still smudged on me. So I ended up having too much on the upper lash line, but that's not as big of a deal. But then I ended up having kind of raccoon eyes down here, and I had to clean it up, did Q-tip and stuff, and you can still see a little bit down here. So it went too far, and I think it's because it's very, very creamy. It's a lot creamier than other kind of liner products, and so if you're going to use it as liner, you want to be really, really careful with quantity and precision of application. And as you saw, I used a very precise brush, and even then it wasn't as precise as I wanted, and again got my version of raccoon eyes. And I don't mind liner on the lower lashes. I just don't want it to be, you know, a full millimeter to millimeter and a half thick. That's not what I was going for, especially black. So yeah, a little cleanup was required. I find the shadow too shimmery. I would have preferred something more matte in the crease, and I think that maybe a matte base, like for example, I have an Aqua XL from Makeup Forever that is a matte taupey brown. I might put that in the crease, and then Amethyst and Moonlight on the lid. That might look nice, but I don't appreciate the amount of shimmer that is on my overall eyelid, almost right to the brow bone. And then I had a kind of a harsh delineation here. I couldn't get Amethyst to sheer out the way I wanted, and I ended up using a brow bone highlight from Joe Fresh to just be able to, from Quo, to just try to smooth out right here so it didn't look quite so funny. I'll continue to use them, but I think that they will be relegated to eyelid only, and possibly even a base for something that has even more pop. I'm not a fan of caviar sticks. The last time I had a caviar stick, I ended up using it as eye primer as opposed to a shadow stick itself. But like I said, I'll keep using them, but definitely learned some significant lessons this morning. And if you're curious to know how I'm going to keep my samples from drying up, I'm going to be using these little Sephora sample containers. I'll transfer over the rest of the samples into these little containers so that they don't dry out and that I can continue to use them. Once all of the Laura Mercier was on, I did go ahead and open up this Shiseido Full Lash Mascara. It's a waterproof mascara. It looks like this. And I'll show you the brush. Now this is a mini, so the full size may look different, but this is the brush. It's got a wider and a narrower side. I only used it on my upper lashes, but I did get a little bit of transfer on the bottom, and I also got transfer on my upper lid, which I don't normally get with mascara. So it's a very wet mascara when you first apply it, and I think if you look up close, you may be able to see some black dots here still. I didn't get all of it off, and the Laura Mercier caviar stick really sets. Like once it's on there, you can't get it off. And I might be able to now flake off the mascara. Yeah, I can now, but I didn't want to do it earlier because I was worried that it was going to smudge on me. So far, so good for the waterproof. I need to spend all day with it to know what I think of it, and obviously for quite a bit longer, so I'll keep using this one. But I do like the fact that a mascara tends to last quite a bit. I mean, this is 2 ml, which is a mascara somewhere between 7 and 9 ml, I think. And so this is not a bad amount. This might actually last me 3 or 4 weeks. So I'll have a chance to have a full, I guess a full review on it once I'm done using it. Next up, I did brows, and all I did for brows was use a couple of products. I used the Super Brow by Kat Von D, and I used a mixture of these two colors. I used this one on the inner brow, and this one for the tail to mid brow. This one was too dark, this whatever it's called, walnut. So taupe and medium brown. And there's a little brush that comes with this package, but I just find it, even for me as a small person, that the brush is just too small. So I used the same brush as I did for the liner, which is just a $2 Essence brush, works great. And so used it on the brow, just basically making brow hairs in inner brow, and then kind of brush it through this way, and then again brush strokes on the tail end, and I think it turned out okay. And then I set it with a deluxe sample of the Anastasia clear brow gel. So that's what I used, and the brush on that looks like this. I really like this product, by the way. The one thing I used on my face that is not a sample is on my upper lash line, sorry, on my upper waterline, I did use the Annabelle Blackest Black liner because there was no liner available in my samples drawer. So that's the only thing on my face that is not a sample. And now finally for what is on my lips, I ended up using this Buxom full-on lip plumping lip polish, and I was planning on using Dolly, this one right here. But when my eyes were what I would call more dramatic than I expected, I decided to soften it up and use this one, which is Serena. But all three of them, if you look at them, all three of them look very, very pretty. And I'm a big fan of Buxom glosses, full-on lip creams, anything Buxom I really like. And so Serena is a nice light gloss. It kind of makes me think of those Becca gloss toppers. I enjoy the shine. I think it looks really good. I'll be using it all day today, and it's very minty. If you don't like minty feeling glosses, you will not like this. If you do though, it's the typical Buxom mint, maybe up another 25% as far as the minty feel. But I really, really am enjoying it, and I can't believe it took me so long to break into this one and use it. And it says, Shimmering Pout Plumping Shine, refreshing tingling sensation, yep. And it has vitamin A and E to pamper and moisturize. And holy, it's available in 100 shades. That's 100 shades? Seriously? Okay. Anyway, that's what I'm using on my lips. And then I finished up my look by using a setting spray, and I have one deluxe sample setting spray left, and it is the All Nighter setting spray by Urban Decay. So that's what I used today. I used 19 samples today. I'm so impressed. 20 products total, because I also used the Annabelle Black is Black liner. 20 products today total, but 19 of them were samples. I'm really excited about that. I would love to know what you think of the look in the comments below. That would be fantastic. And if you like this kind of video and you want me to do other full face try-ons of various samples that I have makeup and skincare, please let me know. I can definitely make this a series. And I do thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it every time. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.